Hey guys, it's Joe, and welcome to Joyful Downloads. Little technical snafus over the last couple of weeks, but here we are. Okay, so and I'm not sure. Anyways, we're just gonna go with it. So, welcome everybody. If you find this live or if you come on later to watch the replay, welcome. Thank you for joining me. And Sam will be here later on as part of the discussion, as it was indeed Sam who came up with the topic or theme for the week, and they have requested that we start to do these interactions and conversations and downloads. So I am going to be coming live on Monday evenings, and we are going to, each week is going to be a new theme, and they are right on it. So here we go. Um, so I wanted to start, and I do have notes because, well, they've been giving me notes all week. So tonight is all about identity, and your identity is not fixed. It is not a one and done, but rather it's chosen, and we're really going to get into that. And when we shift who we believe we are, everything in life changes. So we are going to be getting into that, and I know that before I did a live somewhere else yesterday and could not see the there we go. So I will just keep this on here so that I can see if there are questions or whatever. Let me just put that up here. I'm going to turn the volume off though. Okay, here we go. Okay, so tonight is, so I wanted to let everybody know that tonight we're talking about identity and intuition, because there are two aspects to this that we want to talk about. So, how we see ourselves shapes what is available and possible for us. Just let that sink in for a minute. How we see ourselves, who we believe ourselves to be, is indeed what shapes our life and what makes things possible or not for us. It is all down to who we believe ourselves to be. And we're going to be discussing it from two angles tonight. We're going to talk about it from the energetic, intuitive angle, and we are going to be talking about it from the very physical, brain science kind of way. And both angles are so key and important. And as always, I am all about bringing together your spiritual path and your intuitive self along with your physical human being, because we chose to be human, and how we can get them to work together in tandem rather than pulling apart, which is where they so often land. Okay, so we are going to be the topic tonight was chosen by Sam. Okay, so in case you haven't been following me, Sam is the angelic collective that I channel, and they will be coming in later on to have a chat with us. So hey guys, if you're here, I see a couple of people. But so the topic was chosen by Sam. It's the theme of the week. And the content tonight was also inspired over years of learnings from different people like Landmark Education, Wayne Dyer, Jack Canfield, Jim Fortin, and David Bayer. So all those people are fabulous resources for finding out or diving into the topic if you want to find out some more. Okay? Great. So I want to thank them too, just because they have had conversations that were amazing and brought in so many insights for myself over the years. And this idea of identity was actually the first place that I think it really came to fruition or came to the forefront in my life. I was about 18, and my family did something called the Landmark Forum. And in the 3-day forum, there is a lot about identity. They don't always, I've done the forum a few times, and it's been quite some time now, but I don't know that they use the word identity, but the concept and paradigm is definitely forefront in the teachings. And so that's the first place that it came into kind of my awareness. And ever since then, of course, just gets deeper and deeper and bigger, right? As everything that we find interesting. Okay, so I wanted to start off with, so what is identity? And where the hell did it come from? So, our identity is who we believe ourselves to be. Some of our identities are very easy to spot. I'm a mom. I'm a smoker. I'm 5'9". I'm a daughter. I am someone who um, doesn't like mowing lawns. I'm someone who perhaps it's I don't eat meat. Perhaps so some of them are really quite obvious. They're like I'm a smoker, I'm a drinker, I'm a non-smoker, I'm a non-drinker. Um, all of those things are kind of uh, labels, is another term for it, that we attach to ourselves. Now, if you are, say that you were, say that somebody asked you, hey, do you want a cigarette? Well, if you're not a smoker, you wouldn't even think twice. It would just be a not like, no, no, no thanks. But if you believed yourself to be a smoker, then you would probably say yes. If you were someone who believed themselves to be a smoker but wanted to quit smoking, that's where the kind of angst comes in. And often that is where we haven't shifted our identity yet, but we're still holding on to one from the past. So, where do our identities come from? Oh, and identities will, some of them are obvious, and then some of them are operating under the radar. So, some are more difficult to see or kind of get a hold of. Those ones have been there longer and they are a little bit more subtle. Um, some of the obvious ones shift during our lifetime and they're easy to see. I'm someone who's single. I'm someone who's married. I'm someone who's divorced. I'm someone who's single. Those shift during our lifetime and they're easy to spot. And, now a subtle one might be I'm someone who's always alone. And that one is sneaky because no matter what the top identity or the one that's on the surface says, if that was your core, like that was the identity that's been running under the radar, then that will trump everything else. So even if you're married, I'm someone who's always alone, you could end up having a partner who travels for work or doesn't really communicate, or you live in different cities, or even though you have a relationship where you live in the same house, you still might feel alone. So some of our identities are a lot trickier, and those are the ones that we want to bring to the surface for the areas of life that we want to shift. Because until we dig those up, it's kind of like, that's funny, they're showing me like a root. So until you get a dandelion, say you're pulling dandelions out of your garden, you know that if you don't pull the whole root, that sucker's gonna just grow right back again. So it's the same thing, same type of thing. Okay, so the trap of old identities. How did we get them? Often it is, and if you're here listening to this, you probably are aware that until about the age of it's up for grabs between 7 and 9 years old, we are literally in a meditative state. So we're an absorbing machine. We have to learn how to walk, talk, adjust, live life, keep safe, all that good stuff in a very short amount of time. So mind is a sponge and we just accept everything that's given us. So, a lot of our identities, especially the core identities, the core beliefs we have about ourselves, are planted in that time span between the age of 0 and like 7, 8, 9. So if there is perhaps somebody who told you you were clumsy, and I use this one a lot because that I had that one, then after a while you just doesn't take very many times repeating that to a 7-year-old or a 4-year old that they believe it. So that becomes an identity. Perhaps you are, your family always says we can't afford it. Didn't you know that, we're not rich, we're poor, or no, we can't afford that. There's no money for that. So then you become whatever term of poor your 3-year old or 5-year old or 7-year old has created. We don't have money. There's never enough. Um, Often, identities will be formed around you have to work really hard for that, and um, money doesn't grow on trees. Yeah, it was well meaning. It really was, but a lot of us adopted those uh, identities around being having lack, not being rich, having to work really hard, things like that. Um, Also, you may have grown up in an environment that said you're beautiful and you're smart, because those are identities too. So if you heard a lot of when you were little, you're absolutely beautiful. You are so pretty. You are so cute. You are so handsome. Now, if that was the only thing, and maybe a different sibling or somebody else in your class or your cousin was always told that they were smart, maybe you switched, you held on to I'm beautiful, but I'm not smart. Or I'm smart, but I'm not beautiful. And so they're formed early on. A lot of those core identities, core beliefs about ourselves are formed really early on. And here's the thing, because I've had a lot of parents this week in readings. I've had a lot of clients this week who are parents and were asking about their kids. And a few of them were quite concerned about, I don't want to mess up my kid. Well, here's the news. It's done. If they're over the age of 7, you've already done it. And the news is that we are all going to do it. There is nobody is going to miss out on it. Um, we're all going to screw up our kids at some point. We are human, and this is the way humanity works now. And the funny part is that you are going to worry about something that you think was absolutely traumatizing, or I can't believe I said that, or whatever. And they are going to hang on to an incident or a situation that you just flew right over and never even noticed. So don't worry about it. It's going to happen. Okay. So this is where now it also could have been something you witnessed. It could have been, uh, I, also our phobias come from those. So like you could have watched a horror movie that had a clown in it, and now I am someone who's afraid of clowns. Yeah. Anytime we say I am, we have we're cementing in that identity. Okay. So traumas, information that came from outside. So it could have been from school. You could have overheard it. You could have overheard parents talking, which is kind of a big one. Yeah, so they come in all kinds of ways. Now, as you get older, you tend to mm, choose your identity, but not always in a conscious choosing way, but rather in a default. So perhaps it is I'm not good with tech. I'm not good with money. I'm always alone. Um, I'm the nice one. I love that one. I'm like, oh, that was me for a very, very long time. I'm the nice one. And you could be, I'm not someone who trusts my intuition, or I'm not someone who's very intuitive, Or you could be the opposite. I am someone who is deeply rooted and grounded in my intuition and my connection to spirit. Both are a belief, both are an identity. And as you can tell just right there, how we interact and what we believe about ourselves, that's what shows up in our life. That is the lens or perspective that we're looking through. And on, so that's the energetic side. And on the uh, 3D kind of humanness side, it's the also what then gets put on the radar for your brain, for your mind to find proof of. So if you have a belief, if you hold a belief, I am always alone, then your mind, your brain, will always look for confirmation. It will disregard things that do not match that belief. So even though there might be examples when you are certainly not alone and you are loved and you are taken care of, your brain will disregard those as unimportant and continue to search and look for and pile up proof that you are indeed alone. So that's how it's a two-pronged approach always, and that's how these get even deeper ingrained. So we have these synapses in our brain. It's kind of like, I always picture them as water that runs over rocks for a long time, and it can create a groove. So you get these grooves in your brain that fire continually, because that is a, a steady path, an open channel. And that's, I'm always alone, I'm always alone, I'm always alone. So it does take, we're going to talk in a minute about how we shift them. So it does take a bit of work and practice to get those grooves over here, to create a new groove so that your brain follows that path or that transition. Okay. Excuse me. Now, we know what an identity is. We know where it came from. And now we're going to talk about, excuse me, and we know how it limits our life. And also, now they're not all limiting beliefs. An identity can work in our favor. My daughter has this amazing confidence. She is like, I wish I had her confidence. But she has this absolute identity belief that she's fabulous, she deserves the best, and that she will be treated like a queen. And let me tell you, it comes true. And I will admit that because I have done research and experiences and taken workshops and done tons of work around this, I worked to plant those seeds. And they don't always take root because her 5-year-old could have interpreted that completely differently, but she did not. Because since she could talk, her first expression of herself was, I'm fabulous. And it was written everywhere, on every journal, on every grade 3 notebook. I'm fabulous. That was her. And to this day. So your belief could also be, money's easy to get. I am really great with money. Money comes easily to me, so easy to make. Yeah, I'm someone who is very abundant. So identities are not always things that you want to shift away from. We can embrace them as well. It's the invitation to become consciously aware of what your current identities are. Okay, so that's the next one. Before you can shift an identity, you got to become aware of it. And how do we find out what identity is running? And we will have many, many of them. There will be some core ones that get repeated again and again, but we will have many identity beliefs running all the time. So how do you find out? you look at your life. And when I heard that, I was like, it's got to be more complicated. But no, I am told by Spirit again and again, as humans, we overcomplicate things. So, to know what identity you have, look at the circumstances in your life. Then you pick one area of life. Perhaps it's relationships, perhaps it's abundance or money, perhaps it's career, perhaps it's family, whatever area of life you want to start with. I would suggest that you start with one that actually feels pretty good. Ease into this. We don't want to like jump into the deep end right away. Baby steps. They always tell me start with baby steps. So pick an area of life and then look at the circumstances and the situation in a neutral way. This is how much, okay, so let's pick finances because I know that that's going to be a big one for a lot of people. So this is how much money is in my bank account. This is how I feel about money. This is what stresses me about money. This is what I love about money. This is how my relationship with money has been in the past, over the past 5 years, 3 years, whatever you want to do. Then you just kind of write those notes, bullet points, write them out. Then you ask yourself, what would I need to believe in order for this to occur? So say that you always had enough, but nothing extra. Or perhaps it was up and down like a roller coaster. You could believe, now, you want to use your intuition for this too, because sometimes the answer will just come to you. It could be, it could be as simple as I'm not good with money. It could be, I'm okay with money, but I'm not somebody who gets to indulge. I'm going to be middle class forever. I'm going to live below I'm someone who lives below the poverty line. So you just look at it. So if you look at relationships, look at your history with relationships, look at your current relationship or not relationship. Look at how you feel about it, what it is you desire that hasn't come true. Great. So now, what would I need to believe? And you can phrase it in more neutral way, which just came to me. What would someone need to believe in order for this to become true? I'm someone nobody ever picks me. I'm great, but they always pick the other one. I'm someone who's always alone. I'm someone who is a doormat. I don't have good boundaries. I do have good boundaries. I'm someone who is always loved. I am someone who is treated like a queen. Whatever that is. And this is a wonderful journaling exercise because you just want to like be relaxed, neutral. Yes, stuff is going to come up. You're going to feel emotions around it. But again and again, come back to the neutrality of it because this is just an inquiry. We're inquiring in. We're not saying it's true or it's not true. We are simply inquiring. Okay, now, so that's how you would find out what your identity is, what identities are running the show. Okay, now, how do we shift them? Now that we figured it out, what the heck do we do now? How do we change these things? Okay, so we're going to come at it from a couple of different angles. One is the physical human kind of design. We're going to come at that angle. And for this, the first time I ever heard this was from Landmark Forum. And then Jim Fortin has a trademark on the phrase, I guess now, but it is the be, do, have model. So, and Spirit has told me again and again, they use different words, but so first of all, you need to hold the energy of, you need to be first. You need to hold the energy. You need to be the energy. You need to be the belief. Then you're going to take action, inspired action, and then you're going to have what it is you want. Most of the time, people go around and say, well, when I find the right person, I won't be alone. I won't feel alone anymore. Well, now we've uncovered the identity that I'm always alone. So we know that the odds of us being in a relationship or being in a relationship and feeling part of the connection, or being like really feeling the love and all of that, is probably not going to happen as long as we continue to hold the identity that I'm always alone. So it's not going to show up first, and then you can shift your identity. So the invitation is to notice that you're going to need to shift your identity first, then take inspired action, because we are a human being and action is the mode of how things progress and expand and work on the earth plane. Then you're going to have what you want. So keeping the identity I'm alone is going to keep you alone, in a relationship or out. So we're going to shift that first, and then you're going to take inspired action. You're going to start to smile, you're going to start to flirt, you're going to start to create this new thing going on, and then you have the possibility of relationship. So the question becomes, how do I be the energy of what I want if I still have this belief going on that I'm alone? Well, the first step we already did. The first step is turning on the light. The first step is acknowledging what your identity is, what your belief is already. Because the minute you turn on the light, the minute you bring it out from the shadows, it loses 90% of its power. It's like, they always use the example for me of, it's like there's some, you wake up in the middle of the night and there's this blob over in the corner of your room, and it kind of scares you or startles you, and you're like, oh, is that like somebody watching me, or is that person came in? And then you turn the light on and it's laundry or the backpack or whatever. The minute you turn on the light, you can see it clearly. Now, there's a couple of things you can do. One is, and I love this one because it's so simple, you ask yourself if it's true. I've uncovered the belief that I'm always alone. Now I can just sit down with myself and go, well, wait a minute. Is this really true? Like really, really true? I know I found lots of proof in the past that it is, but like, now you don't need to know where you got it from. It's kind of fun if you do, like, oh, I remember this incident or time, or it must have come in around here. But it doesn't matter. But then the minute you start to question without looking for a concrete answer, you want to stay in the question. So is this really true? Like, really? Is there another possibility? Well, wait a minute. Let me look back at my life. You know what? No, there was this relationship, there was this friendship, there was this collaboration at work. I am surrounded by people who love me and I love. Wait a minute now. I might not currently have a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a partner, but I am not always alone. Like, that's just not true. Your brain now has the instructions, look for proof and confirmation that I am always alone is not true. And all these incidences and circumstances and situations that you have disregarded in the past start to float to the surface. isn't that interesting? Oh, I remember that one guy. Oh my gosh, so cute. And I'm the one who blew it, or I'm the one who, threw the wrecking ball into it, or whatever. Oh, isn't that interesting? So that is kind of the first step. So bring it to light, question it. Then you want to ask yourself, well, does this belief actually serve me? Is this one I want to keep? I'm fabulous. Yeah, I'm keeping that one. But I'm always alone. I want to trade that sucker in. So you can choose if you want to keep it or you want to ditch it. Again, start with baby steps. Pick 1, 2, 3 max to work on at a time. Bring it to light, question it. Is this serving me or not? Then you get down to, well, that's interesting. I wonder what else would serve me? What belief or identity, if I held a new one, would actually be empowering, engaging, joyful, whatever it is you want to feel? So that's interesting. So, what would a belief be? What would an identity look like if it were to feel empowering? And then you just start to list some new identities. Oh, it's not saying you are, it's asking the question, what would be? And my spirit team always adds, well, if I had a magic wand or a little pixie dust, because they know I like magic. So make it fun. Doesn't have to be significant. No, make it fun. Well, if I didn't hold the identity of I'm always alone, I am always loved. I am always loved. Always. I am in relationship with people that support me, I find engaging and interesting, and are of my highest good. That's an amazing, I like that. That just downloaded. So pick a new one. Now, we'll go into kind of some more around that's a whole nother ball of wax that, like, okay, now that you've identified it, how do you can use tools, affirmations, you can use tools for anything from post-it notes to dry erase markers on your bathroom mirror. Slide yourself into it and look for proof, because your brain, the minute you say, I'm somebody who is always loved, your brain, remember, it's got that really deep groove that said, I'm always alone. It's going to take some time to shift the energy into a new groove. So you want to find proof, because your brain wants proof. Otherwise, it's going to go, you're full of bullshit. You are just full of shit. You're always alone and you know it. But you want to engage. It's like, well, just a minute. Let me think of something here. Like, let me find some proof. So you don't make it I am, but what if? What if I was someone who always had somebody amazing in their life, whether it's a best friend or a romantic partner or whatever? What if? What would that look like? What would that person do? Oh, I like that a lot, actually. That just came through. So they're like, stay in the questioning of it rather than the I am statements at the beginning. Because you want your brain to build up some proof so that you're not disregarding it right out of the gate. That makes total sense. I'm going to have to rewatch this to remember that one. Okay. Now, where do we get the connection between intuition? So if you have a question about this, hello people. Oops, sorry. If you have a question, put it in the comments. I will either see it or I will reply to it later, by all means. Okay, so now we're going to so we've talked a lot about the humanness of it, the physical kind of human earth plane thing. Now let's talk about the connection between our identity and our intuition. So this part I'm just downloading. I'm just going to tell you what they said. Oh, okay. Just a minute. No, this is where we're going to channel. They're like, no, no, we want to talk. Okay. Okie dokie. So, if you've never seen me channel before, I just close my eyes. I tune into, there's an angelic collective called SAM. They go by Samantha or Samuel. It's a group of angels. They also include sometimes our higher self. So often the higher selves of the people listening, whether you're listening live or in the future, will be part of that collective as well. So it's not just angels, but the majority of the core group is a group of angels. So, and they have been coming in for a while now. And yeah, anyways, there we go. Oh, yes. Yes, 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 dear ones. We are so happy and pleased that you have arrived here with this one that is so special and dear to us, as you all are, you all are, you all are. And we would like, we love this topic, for it is emerging into the collective of humanity right now, where perspectives are shifting and identities along with it. For you no longer believe, many of you, that you are perhaps alone in the universe. Perhaps you start to believe that you are part of a larger collective, a larger energy source, that perhaps you are indeed that of source, instead of just a one and done bag of bones. But we would like to address the fact that you are going to continue to live in a 3D world on the planet Earth, no matter how many of you desire to leave and go to another dimension. It is the choice of you to be human. And that is, of course, your first identity. That is the first belief that came into being for you to be here. And this is much like believing perhaps that you are a man or woman or child or daughter or son or husband or wife, or even someone who is tall or short or thin or fat, for they are all identities. But the very first one that occurred was, I am human. And your higher self chose that identity. And as this one says, identity is always a choice. Sometimes you make these choices at an age that you are unaware of the choice you are making or the consequences that will come forth from making that choice. But it is a choice. And the good thing about choices is you can choose again. Yes, yes, you can. So we would like to invite you to notice that there is an identity outside of being human. And there is, we have discussed this before in the past, and we will discuss this again in the future. The fact that you come to Earth, you come to be a human by choice and by a chosen identity, and you forget the other identity that is you. We do this on purpose. You arrive not knowing. Well, this is not exactly true. You arrive knowing, but then by the time you can speak and communicate and interact with the rest of the world, you have forgotten. So in those first few months, few weeks, you remember who you are. You are in those moments bliss. You are joy. You experience that. And slowly but surely you forget. And the reason that you forget, we will get into just briefly in this moment, but it is so that you may remember along the way. For if you remembered exactly who you were and your identity before being human, then you would not interact with the 3D world and the vibration of it in the same sense that you do now as a human. Now, we would like to invite you, engage you in the possibility, in the what if and the magic wand of, if you could remember who you are, really are, what you really are. Yes, for you are not necessarily simply a who, but a what. We see you as a whole. We see you as a fragment of the whole and a whole at the same time. The fact that you are love, the fact that you are light, and you are a fractal of source. This is you. And with this knowledge comes great power, for you chose to be human. And any being that can choose to be human can choose the identity of the human again and again. Does that not make sense? We think it does. For if you can make a choice that big to be a human, to arrive here on the planet and engage in this dense world of emotion and mess and chaos and joy and love, then you can simply choose the identity that you would like to live out as a human. We invite you because if you are watching this, we assume, well, actually, we know there are very few children under the age of 9 watching this. So you are an adult and you get to choose for you. How delightful is that? So we would invite you to look at your life and choose, where would I like to shift something? And again, do not overcomplicate this. Do not make it too significant. Otherwise, you will disengage once again and have to start over. So we invite you to choose an area of life that seems to be going well, not fantastic perhaps, but well, and start there. Notice something small. What would I need to believe? Just as this one said, and it has instructed already, and she will be leaving instructions with you. But then engage with the question. And we have brought this up before, because before we brought forth the theme of questioning and having open questions, and we have brought up the theme of perspective, for it is all intertwined and entangled together. Yes, yes. It is how you see the world through the eyes of who you believe you are. Oh, yes. There. How you see the world, the perspective you have through the lens of who you believe you to be. This is the key. This is your identity. So if you do not like your perspective currently, and you do not like who you believe you to be, then by all means change it. Nothing is set in stone. The only thing that is true with a capital T is that you are source. You are love. And you are powerful. So we invite you to engage, to look at your life and think, I can choose. I have chosen the biggest choice of all. And now I can choose a smaller one. I can choose things that shift my life. I do not need to believe any longer that I am a smoker. Now I am a non-smoker. I am someone who eats healthy food that nourishes me and tastes delicious. There are identities running through you that you have no idea exist. This is not something that you will do once and it will be over. For many of you are not the age of 9. And you have been thinking the same thoughts over and over and over and over again for many, many, many years. They are ingrained. It will take time and repeating and practice. And this is the fun of it. It is, we promise. For you are available to engage and have fun in any moment with anything that you choose. And when you forget, for you will, in your humanness, you will, as we always say, stop, pause, take a breath, and simply say, oh, look, human got in the way for a moment. It forgot who I was. That's okay. I can say it again. I can choose once more. We would like to reiterate who we see you as. who we know you are, how we view you and believe you to be. You are, dear ones, love. Not only are you loved, for we love you very much, but you are the essence, the energy, the being of love. Yes, you are. You are a fractal of the divine. You are amazing. You are beautiful. You are magnificent. And as we know is popular, you are fabulous in all ways. And we want to remind you that you are powerful, more than you will ever know on earth. But we invite you to try it out. We love you oh so much. And we appreciate this interaction. And as always, a reminder that this has been a vibrational experience, not only through the words that have been said for this entire time and broadcast, but it is an energy. For if you engage here, you are receiving a download that will occur and morph into your psyche and your energy and your beingness throughout the coming days. We love you oh so much. Whoa, I feel dizzy after that one. I don't know how to explain it. It it was overwhelming, is all I can say. That's like in a good way. That's how it felt. Okay, so that is them. Whew. Thank you guys. And let me just look at my notes because, oh, yes, David Bayer has this wonderful thing. If you ever listen, I listen to his podcast. I like him. He's very forthright. Is a good word. Yeah. So make a decision. Once you pick a new one, once you've explored it, once you've let your mind kind of find a little bit of proof, declare it. That's it. Declare it. I make a choice. I choose. Now, he uses the word decision. For me, that's not the right word that I use, but use whatever word you want. Declare is the one that shows up for me right away. Declare your new identity. Own it. Rack up proof for it. Even if you need to keep a journal or a little notebook, like I am abundant. Oh yeah, look, I got a free this. Somebody bought me lunch. This happened. New clients, whatever it is. Keep racking up proof. Okay. Who am I becoming? I love that one too because it's a great open question for spirit and for your intuition because it is looking, it's in the question. Lately they've been saying the minute you find an answer to your question, you kind of close the door. It's like, oh, possibility's done. We found the answer. We're done. Moving on to the next thing, which is great sometimes. But if you're still in the movement of it, in the process of it, then leaving an open door for possibility is where you want to be. You're invited to be. So, who am I becoming? Oh, actually, that is a question I could ask for the next week and just see what bubbles up. I want to pay attention to what Spirit says, what my higher self says, what Sam says. Who am I becoming? And just looking around my life right now, I know that that's true, that I am becoming. I'm not exactly sure who yet, but I know things are shifting. That I can feel. Okay. So, oh, I love this one. Okay, so this is the other question, the last question of the night. What truth about yourself are you ready to remember? What truth about yourself are you ready to remember? Because this is our human life as a journey of remembering. Spirit tells me that all the time. We are here on a journey of remembering. So, what truth about yourself are you ready to remember? Okay, so that is it for tonight, guys. If you want to have some more information, you can head on over to my website. I will leave the link somewhere in here. I just wrote a blog post all about this as well. And there will be more posts coming out this week in Facebook and Instagram with some journaling questions and things like that. If you have appreciated it, please leave a comment. It helps it get it out there more. Due to technical difficulties, I did this on my Facebook tonight, but I'm hoping that I can start doing this on YouTube live every week. But by all means, leave a question, leave a comment. If you have, like, I don't understand this, or I don't understand that, or could you clarify more about that, leave it in there. And if you know somebody who would love videos like this, please be sure to share. Okay, guys, I love you. Have a fabulous night. And I will see you all soon. Mwah.